Hi, my name is Sangwa and welcome to another episode of EMTV. And today we're going to talk about a common problem that Erhu have if the Erhu comes with friction packs. And the problem is the packs might slip or might run when you're trying to tune it. Okay, if you have an instrument with friction packs, you'll know that sometimes when there's not enough friction between the packs and the hole, no matter how hard you push it in, it's very hard for the packs to stay in position. So if there's not enough friction between the packs and the hole, the tension of the string, when you tune it, it might just cause the fret to like slip, okay, like this way. Alright, so this is what usually happens to a lot of erhus if there's not enough friction at this point, at this part here. So the logical thing to do would be to increase the friction at the part where the erhu pack comes into contact with the hole. And after consulting with a couple of erhu makers, this is what they suggested. Okay, the first method would be to use some chalk, the kind where you use on blackboards, and you apply it at the part where the packs come into contact with the hole. Okay, first you take out the packs, and this part is where the packs comes into contact with the hole. So you want to increase the friction over here, so you can use this chalk and just rub it all over. Yeah, and this way this will be able to reduce the problem of slipping or running packs. So you can also use this method on other instruments that has friction packs. And if you want to be more thorough, you can actually try to put some, also rub some chalk in the inside of the hole. Yeah, okay. But we know that since schools have changed from blackboards to whiteboards, it's very difficult to find chalk nowadays. So if you cannot find chalk, you can actually use rosin powder on the erhu instead. So where do you find rosin powder? Okay, if you are like me, someone who doesn't wipe their erhu clean, you can find a lot of rosin powder over here. Yeah. So what you can do is you can just collect the rosin powder on your hand and you just apply it on the part where I showed you just now. Okay, another way is you can, if you cannot find any rosin powder on your very clean erhu, you can rosin your bowl, and after that from your freshly rosin bowl you can just swipe your finger here and you can get a lot of rosin powder as well, and you can apply it on the packs as well. But if the problem persists, you might need some drastic steps. The second method would be to use either a scissors or some knife to cut some grooves on the packs. If you take out the pack and you look closely, there's actually some cuts here made by the maker. This is to make the surface more uneven and increase the friction. So what you can do is you can look at the parts where it's shiny and it's black, which means that it is smooth, and you can add some more cuts to the packs. For example, if you're using the scissors, you can do this. Okay, and that will create some more cuts on the packs, and this will also increase the friction at the point of contact. Okay, I hope that was useful for you. If you have any questions, do leave a comment below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.